The Rams make a sneaky good signing. We're going to talk about why this could be huge for the defense, as well as what Sean McVay had to say about Quentin Lake potentially missing some time and who can replace Quentin Lake, all on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron. And remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, please do me a favor, consider pressing that subscribe button now, as roughly 4,715 of you guys are currently subscribed to the channel. We are trying to reach 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you can please do us a favor, consider pressing that subscribe button. If you like what you see, you keep coming back for more, but you're still not subscribed, do me a favor, consider pressing that subscribe button so we can continue to try to reach our goals and you don't miss any daily Rams content. Weekly live streams, the watch-alongs have been really fun. Last week versus the Seattle Seahawks, it was really fun. If you joined us, over 4,000 views on that live stream. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in who did, especially the ones who joined us live. It was a really good time overall, so subscribe so you don't miss any of those live streams. But speaking on the Rams and what they're doing right now, currently, right, they're making some moves. Interesting, right? At this point in the season, you don't anticipate your team making too many crazy moves, and this isn't a crazy move, but an interesting one that I think raised some eyebrows initially, but some people are kind of liking what they see out of it. So Jordan Schultz says, his sources say, former Cardinals outside linebacker Jesse Luketa is signing today with the Rams. The former Penn State standout recorded 3 sacks and forced 1 fumble in 10 games last season. He is fully healthy after recovering from a season-ending thigh injury. Now, one huge important note here that's not really mentioned in that original tweet, it's a practice squad signing. So you're not signing Jesse Luketa to come in and, start at the edge rusher for you immediately. Former 7th round pick, and we'll talk about some details on his stats coming up in a bit. But overall, I think coming off a thigh injury, big body edge rusher, outside linebacker, kind of going to come in and really help you slow the run down, stuff the run. That is the key, I think, for Jesse Luketa here. And I think the Rams, you look at the edge rushers right now as they currently sit, a lot of good players, a lot of good speed off the edge, the Byron Youngs, the Jared Verses, and there's some size there, right, with the Braden Fisk of the world. But overall, I think we've been talking about that since the offseason, right? There isn't that much bulk and size on the edge. And I don't know if the Rams are noticing they can use that right now, or maybe they're just kind of, especially like Josiah Stewart, also thinner guy, right, coming off the edge. So maybe they're just thinking, look, for depth reasons, when it gets down to the cold weather games, teams are going to do what they do best probably, and run the football because it's cold, the wind, the weather can affect you. So you got to stuff the run and slow down the run. If you move up Jesse Luketa, he does pretty well in a couple of games here and there after elevating him from the practice squad. Well, he could be a nice addition to this Rams defense. And you look at what he did last year when we're talking about the Arizona Cardinals before he was out for injury. A younger guy, right, about 26 years of age, about Canadian guy, by the way, from Ottawa, Ontario. Interesting there, but 12 solo tackles, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble. And by the way, I will say, I went back and looked at some of his highlights, and I'm pretty sure it was last year. The fumble was kind of, I'm not trying to take it away from him, but he was basically, rushing off the edge, and then one of the other defenders for Arizona happened to grab a running back, kind of spin him around a little bit. I think they were playing San Fran, and because of the spin back and the way Luketa was just kind of placed, he was just, that motor kept going, which is definitely the positive there, but he just goes out, and while the running back is wrapped up by somebody, he goes out and kind of pokes the ball free. So I'm not saying it's a bad forced fumble. You don't have any bad forced fumbles, but don't get too excited. He's not like when we got signed Nate Landman, he was forcing fumbles out in Atlanta. Now he comes to LA and does that same thing here with LA. I don't know if he's going to be a forced fumbling machine. Luketa will be, but the biggest thing is he's a big body edge rusher that's going to help you be more physical on the edge. When you watch the way he rushes, not very speedy at all. Maybe a little bit faster than his 4.4 time coming out of college. He was like a 4.4, I'm sorry. His 40-yard dash time, he's not a 4.4. Far from it. He was like a 4.8, 4.9 kind of guy coming out of college, and so probably why he went to the 7th round. Not a super speedster, but again, big body going to help you stuff the edge, the run off the edge. So interesting signing. Could be a sneaky good one down the road, especially when it comes down to the playoffs. I mean, that's the biggest thing for the Rams. They are going to make the playoffs. They know they're going to be a good team. They know they're a good team right now. And so when it gets those cold weather games, if you see maybe an elevation from practice squad, or maybe a signing for the rest of the season with a Luketa, I can see that being the case come playoff time, and you see kind of that guy come in and step in and slow the run down with the speed that we have on the edge. So maybe he plays and gets elevated soon. We'll wait and see on that. Keep our eyes on what number 40, by the way, I think he's wearing number 40 for the Rams, will do if he is elevated from the practice squad. We'll definitely keep our eyes out. So moving on from that, we are talking about Quentin Lake, right? So Joshua Feinherz talked about this a little bit yesterday. He is going to be out. I think it was an elbow injury. I'm forgetting now off the top of my head, but he is looking at some surgeons, and he's talking to some of the best surgeons, by the way, in all of sports. And so not ideal, not really what you want to see hearing out of Quentin Lake, but the Rams have to continue to move on. They're a good team. They're setting themselves up really, really well. And so they're going to have to figure out how will they replace Quentin Lake? Well, there's a lot of guys in this cornerback room and the safety room that can obviously do some of the things that Quentin Lake does. But when you're talking about straight up replacing Quentin Lake at this point in time of the season, well, here's what your coach, Sean McVay, had to say about it, right? He said, you don't replace Quentin Lake. I mean, that's just point blank period, right? Of the best way you can kind of say that. He's so valuable for so many reasons, with what he can do, with who he is as a human, with the way that he elevates and leads. He is a glue guy for us. I think it would be insincere to think that you're going to ask somebody to do the things that he's capable of. It's what makes him so special. So, of course, you want to pause and say, yes, Sean McVay, you're right. Give him some credit. Quentin Lake has been an incredible player for the Rams, incredible addition to his Rams defense. But ultimately, you do have some good safety play behind him. That's one key thing to note. There's some good safeties in this room. Jalen McCullough has had snaps, obviously. You have the... Obviously, Cam Kitchens had an incredible game this past week. Cam Curls on the roster. So those are names that you can kind of obviously look at and say, that is what you want to see from the Rams. Someone stepping up. I'm messing up these things. Every time I type, it messes this up. So I'm sorry for this being weird. But yes, obviously this is a situation where that you're probably not going to replace him straight up when we're talking about what Quentin Lake brings to the table. But one interesting note I think we should definitely have here is that Quentin Lake plays a lot in the slot. That is one key of his game. That's actually a majority of what he does for the Rams. He plays a lot of coverage, plays a lot in the slot. Who do you have that could potentially play in the slot? Roger McCreary. He does all of his work, most of his work as well, when he played with the Titans earlier this year in the slot. I think it's upwards of 60% of his snaps were played in the slot for the Titans. That's what Roger McCreary does, what he brings to the table. And so same with Quentin Lake, right? So Quentin Lake's over 70%, I think, in the slot. And so that's what he does. That's what he brings to the table. And yes, Sean McVay's right. The intangibles aren't really going to come through with Roger McCreary. You can't expect him to step in and be Quentin Lake all of a sudden. But what you can do is expect that guy to play at that position, at that role, and see if he can do it well. The Rams did invest in Roger McCreary, not too much, but they obviously want to see what this guy can do so they can see if he's going to be a part of their future. 25 years of age, still has a lot of opportunity to grow on this defense. So this is kind of his time to shine, in my opinion. I really do expect to see some more Roger McCreary out there on the field for the Rams now that Quentin Lake is dealing with this injury. Of course, we're hoping it's not long-term, but Sean McVay didn't sound super excited about the fact that this is happening. It sounds like they're expecting Quentin Lake to be gone for a little bit of time, maybe the rest of the season, but also maybe a little bit of time, not as much as we would be worried about, of course. So let's hope and for the best with Quentin Lake and his health, but obviously look for the future and see if Roger McCreary can be that guy for the Rams. Moving on from that, last but not least, my favorite part of the episode, trivia of the day, where I ask a trivia question. You give your trivia guesses down below in the comment section, whether you're right or whether you're wrong. We give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. For those who missed last episode's trivia of the day, this was the question we asked everyone. Kind of a simple one, but I explained it like this. Look, I see a lot of videos of people saying, are you a diehard fan? Then name what college this guy went to. And I don't love those because it doesn't mean you're a diehard fan if you know or don't know where these guys went to college. But it's important, I think, sometimes to kind of notes just to kind of get the history of the guys that you're watching play for the Rams. So what college was Kobie Turner drafted out of? Was it A, Ohio State? Was it B, University of Alabama? Was it C, University of Michigan? Or was it D, Wake Forest University. Maybe the multiple choice were mixed up a little bit there last time. But either way, those were the 4 choices. We had a few of you guys play along at home. Here were the trivia guesses from the last episode. We had Floyd saying, I have no idea what college Kobie Turner was drafted out of, but Snead really likes the SEC, so I'm going to go with Alabama. Good choice there. TJ says Wake Forest, grew up right down the street from the university, so maybe he's got some knowledge there. Eric says Kobie Turner attended Wake Forest College. Juan says, to keep my streak going, I'm going to say Wake Forest. Yeah, Juan has been on a heater as of late. Wake Forest is his guess. Mr. Donks says, that's easy, Wake Forest. We'll see if he's correct. And STL St. Louis Rams fan says, see, Wake Forest. So actually, a majority of the guesses have been Wake Forest. The correct answer for the trivia of the day of what university was Kobie Turner drafted out of was Wake Forest University, the Demon Deacons. Yes, that is where Kobie Turner attended university. So it's good to just know that information. Is it ever going to come in handy? Are you ever going to be on a TikTok or YouTube short or something where someone's asking you what college Kobie Turner went to? Who's to say? But now you at least have that piece of information. Kobie Turner drafted out of Wake Forest University. Appreciate all of you guys for playing along with the trivia of the day. Special shout out to TJ, Eric, Juan, Mr. Donks, and St. Louis Rams fan for playing along and getting it correct. If you guys want to play along with today's episode of Trivia of the Day and you're like, that was easy, I want to get a shout out just like those folks got on the next episode, cool, play along with today's episode of Trivia of the Day, which is this question here. We got a picture on this Trivia of the Day. It's pretty rare. Actually, I don't think it's ever happened. But we all know and love the Rams mascot Rampage. Actually, quickly, give me your opinions on how you feel about Rampage down below in the comment section. I'm curious. But we all know and love the Rams mascot Rampage. But who was the mascot before him? I think we all know and love Rampage. But who was the mascot before him? So there was a mascot before Rampage. It wasn't always a Ram named Rampage. So who was the mascot for the Los Angeles Rams or whatever team they were, whatever city they were in at the time? What was the mascot before it was Rampage? Was it A, Count Ramsbottom? Was it B, Ramsfinity? Was it C, Ramster? Or was it D, Rocky the Ram? We all know and love the Rams mascot Rampage, but who was the mascot before him? Was it A, Count Ramsbottom? That's actually a tough name. Was it B, Ramsfinity? Ramsfinity, tough name as well. Was it C, Ramster? Also tough name. Or D, Rocky the Ram? I kind of like that name, not going to lie. Rocky the Ram's pretty cool. So give your guesses down below in the comment section. Whether you're right or whether you're wrong, we give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. Other than that, that's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. Please consider pressing that subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content. That's going to do it for me. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I'm out.